Throughout my years of playing Siege, I've noticed a lot of new players struggle to attack effectively. In today's video, I'll be helping you accomplish just that. So if you're new to the game, strap in, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to attack just like a champ. Now, the very first thing we need to address is the goal of the attackers. Now, depending on how new you are to the game, you may think that the goal of the attackers is to eliminate the defenders. And while you can win that way, that isn't your main goal. The actual goal of the attackers is to get the plant down. You do this by taking map control and clearing any defender utility that could prevent you from getting a plant off. I've pushed this point a lot throughout my videos, but it's true. Your KD doesn't matter, and what does is playing the objective. Now that you understand your goal as an attacker, I'm sure you're now wondering, how do you accomplish that? Because trying to get into a bomb site and get the diffuser down is very difficult. Well, I'll be helping you learn by discussing the 6 most important aspects of attacking. The first is the operator roles on attack. The second is team composition. The third is communication. The fourth is what to do in the prep phase. The fifth is roaming. And the sixth is site execution. I'll be going through all of these one by one, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to properly attack. Let's start out with the roles. This will dictate what operators you play and the way in which you should play the round. These roles are defined by the operators within them. For example, Thermite is a support operator, while Ash is a fragging operator. Now, you may be wondering, what do these roles mean? Well, let me explain. When playing support, as the name suggests, your entire goal is to support the team. Examples of operators that fall into this category are hard breachers, any sort of shield operator, and operators for gadget denial like Thatcher, Twitch, or Flores. Typically, while playing these operators, you'll be taking a minimal amount of gunfights each round because their gadgets are extremely important, and losing them early could mean the difference between winning or losing a round. Now, this doesn't mean that support players just sit around and do nothing the whole round. They actually will spend most of the round droning in the entry fraggers, which I'll teach you how to do later on in the video. But to get the basic gist, if you play a support player, you can't die early, so you've got to focus on supporting your team by droning your team in and using your gadget. Now to discuss entry fraggers. A lot of people believe that entry fraggers are meant to get kills, and while this is partially true, these people typically forget the entry part of their name. When playing these operators, you're actually meant to take as much map control as possible for your team. This is due to the fact that most entry fragging operators have gadgets that don't matter nearly as much as a support operators. You can get away with losing your entry fraggers without really losing the round. Examples of entry fraggers include Ash, Zofia, Lion, and Jackal, just to name a few of them. Now finally, it is time to discuss flex operators. These operators are way more difficult to explain because definitions differ greatly based on who you ask. I consider flex operators to be any operator that doesn't fit into the fragger or support role. Some examples of this can include Finka, Gridlock, Nomad, or Zero. Now, these kinds of operators typically don't have one particular playstyle throughout the round. They just fill in the gaps of your team. Whatever you need is what they do. For example, you need someone to watch your flank while your team pushes the bomb site, pick Gridlock. If you need an operator to play vertically, pick Buck. And I'm pretty sure you get the idea at this point. These operators are basically designed to just fill in the gaps of your team that entry fraggers and supports can't really fill. Now that you understand all the roles that make up the attacking side, it is now time to discuss who you should actually bring in a round. Typically, in any given round, you want to have 2 support operators, 2 entry fraggers, and 1 flex. However, you can mix this up and bring 2 flexes and 1 fragger, but as a general rule of thumb, you never want to have more than 2 entry fraggers or support operators. Too many in any direction could leave your team with a lot of gaps in either utility or gunfight presence. Now, to give you an in-game example, me and my team in any given round will bring 1 hard breacher, someone to help get batteries off the wall, whether that be someone with impact EMPs or Thatcher, 2 flex operators, and 1 fragger. Now, as you'll learn in a second, these operator picks are not at all set in stone. So don't think that what I just told you is concrete and should always be what you pick. You should always be adapting what you're doing based on the enemy team's lineup, which I'll explain in a second. But following these general guidelines can pretty much just put you on the right track. Anyways, it is now time to move on to communication. A lot of newer players don't understand what, when, or how to communicate important information. You need to be calling out just about everything in Siege. If you breach a wall, let your team know. If you change positions, call it out. Any bit of information you can give your teammates could help them visualize what is going on in the round. Also, you and your team need to adapt throughout the round. If you notice that your plan isn't working and you think you should divert to something else, don't be afraid to say that. I have lost too many rounds in ranked from stubbornly continuing a plan, even though it isn't working. Now, another important aspect of communication is droning. This is something a lot of people mess up. When droning, you need to check every corner of the room you're droning. And I mean every corner. If you lazily or sloppily drone a room, it can open opportunities for a defender to be hiding somewhere you missed. And if that defender comes out of their hidey hole, they could end up killing your entire team. So you need to be thoroughly checking every room your team is pushing. If you don't drone, it allows defenders to catch you off guard, and it gives them a huge advantage in any gunfight they take against you or your team. Also, when droning, you need to position yourself in a position where you can capitalize on any intel you gather. This means you shouldn't be droning rooms on the other side of the map from where you are. A typical rule that I suggest following is to drone only 2 or 3 rooms ahead of yourself or a teammate. Because if you drone any farther out from that and you find a defender, you won't be able to do anything with that intel, and they will likely just shoot your drone and reposition. So it pretty much wastes the drone entirely. So make for sure your team is in a position to best capitalize on the intel you gather. Speaking on gathering intel, it is now time to talk about the prep phase. Obviously, during the prep phase, the attackers don't have a bomb site to set up, but their goal is to gather as much intel as possible about the enemy team's bomb site setup without sacrificing drone economy. You want to gather intel about where the bomb site is and what operators they're bringing without putting your drone at risk of getting shot. Now, how do you do this? Well, I suggest trying to either hide a drone near the bomb site in a hallway and wait for the defenders to run through it, or you can just quickly drive your drone past the bomb site, gather any intel you can, and then run away. And there should only be one person droning the bomb site during the prep phase, because you don't want to lose more than one drone. You don't want to put any more drones at risk if you don't have to. So everyone else should be driving their drones into spawn, and you should be making it very aware that you're going to be the one to drone the bomb site. Now, once you drive by the bomb site and you figure out what they're bringing, what do you do with this intel? Well, the attackers are meant to counter what the defenders are bringing, not the other way around. If you know the operator lineup of the defense, or at least you know a few of their operators, you should change your lineup accordingly. If you see a Jaeger and Wamai, bring more flashbangs. If you see Bandit or Kaid, bring a Thatcher. You want to be doing this as much as possible, because the only way to win is to successfully counter the defender setup. Now, once I said earlier, once you've gathered any intel you can during the prep phase, everyone should be either hiding their drone near where they're going to be entering the building, or they should be driving their drones into spawn. By making for sure you and your teammates are saving your drones during the prep phase, it allows you to have way more drones to use towards roam clearing. Speaking of roam clearing, it is now time to discuss it. Roam clearing, especially if you're solo queuing, is likely the hardest part of any given round. This can easily make or break your team, because depending on how effective you are at roam clearing, it could sway the result of the round and potentially the match entirely. Roam clearing requires extremely good communication. You need to have your drone work, callouts, and positioning on point if you want to successfully clear a decent roam. So if you use the skills I taught you earlier, you should be fine at roam clearing. But something a lot of people don't understand is when roam clearing is needed. Time is extremely important for the attackers, so you only want to be droning parts of the map that are absolutely necessary. Anything else could waste valuable time that could be used to execute on the bomb site. An example of when roam clearing is not needed is when you're attacking CCTV and cache on Clubhouse. If you get plat wall open and take garage, you can get a plant down without clearing anything else on the map. You might have to drone stock and swamp just to ensure that there isn't a defender with a nitro cell waiting to deny the plant, but outside of that, roam clearing really isn't needed. However, an example of when roam clearing is needed is when attacking server command on Nighthaven Labs. This bomb site requires you to open the IT wall and connector walls. However, to do this, you need to roam clear meeting, lobby, and warehouse to ensure you don't get flanked. This isn't a lot of roam clearing compared to other bomb sites in the game, but it is still some form of roam clearing that you will have to do. There are plenty more examples of both of these scenarios, but all you need to do is remember only clear what you absolutely have to. Don't drone or clear parts of the map that you don't expect to push or that don't impose an impending threat. Now, once you successfully roam cleared, it is now time to push on to the bomb site. This is where an excellent attacking round can crumble, or where a losing battle can be turned around. Typically when executing on the bomb site, depending on how long it took for you to roam clear and open any surfaces you may need, you only have a minute left on the clock at most, and you will most likely have lost a couple teammates in the process. But don't let this get to your head. You need to stay calm in these situations because Siege, at the end of the day, is a mental game. If you aren't confident, you will lose every gunfight you take. When executing on the bomb site, you're going to have to burn a lot of utility out of the defenders. If they have a smoke, Goyo, or Tachanka, you will need to bait out their gadgets so that you can plant safely. Same thing goes for any nitro cells that defenders may have. Then after you've done that and it comes time for the plant, you can use any smoke grenades you have left to provide you some cover. You can use any flashbangs left to mask the sound of the plant, and you can use any leftover utility your team has to prevent the defenders from stopping the plant. For example, a well-placed OSHA shield can allow your teammate to plant behind cover, a well-placed air jab can prevent entry into the bomb site you are planting in, and a well-timed Lion EE1D can stop defenders from rushing the planter without you knowing. Basically, if you have any utility that can be used, you should be using it when the plant is going down, because after that, there won't be any more opportunities to use your gadgets. Now, once the plant actually goes down, the post-plant begins. During the post-plant, you should be playing as passively as possible. Set up a drone that can see the diffuser and hold a passive angle in a different room. This allows your team to give you as much intel as possible on the remaining defender while you're in safety. And if you want to have an even more passive strategy, you can go below and wait for your teammates to call out where the defender is and shoot them through the floor as they go to defuse. Anyways, hopefully you guys found this video useful. I make Rainbow Six Siege content just like this twice a week, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter so you don't miss the next upload. If you want to watch another video just like this one, a video will be popping up on your screen right now where I show you the best site setups on every map in Rainbow Six Siege. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.